Hi, my name's Kyle Bien. I'm producer and mixer here at Confidential Music. We've worked on trailers for Star Wars, Force Awakens, Suicide Squad, Jurassic World, and Interstellar. And today we're here with Output using Stitch in Arcade. This track came out of the Confidential Music library, and what we're doing is we're going to go back through it today and use the arcade elements to update it a little bit and kind of give it a new facelift per se. We're going to start with trying to find pockets of where I needed that acceleration. I needed to push things towards the downbeat, rises, the drones, and things of that nature, which is very big in trailers. And so in this case, I came across the Megawaves 8-beat kit under the Stitch line. And then my process is very simply, I just start going through and I listen to everything, just to kind of get a grasp of what's going on. Found that I like that. So then I always go in, tune down a little bit to give it a little bit of aggression. I'm going to automate in a little bit of the flutter macro here. That's cool. Once we've kind of agreed that we like that sound, we want to kind of use that rise as, we call it a foundational sound or a fundamental sound. We just take our little block here and we'll fly it to the next place that we want to bring that rise in. Another sound that we wanted to mess with and give kind of a B-side to that rise, so it's not the same thing over and over again. Once again, we'll just start by auditioning sound. That could be kind of cool. We'll take that and we'll go in on the filter side of life. What's really important, especially when dealing with the rhythmic tracks of a trailer, is to keep that emotion and keep that kind of energy flowing through it. And so what's really useful about this is you can kind of take one thing and reinterpret it as you go down the path of the trailer and keep energy and keep the same idea kind of reinventing itself. I've exported my drum tracks, and so I have my 1 2-bar loop and then a fill, and I'm using those right here. Back in my DAW, I built 2 tracks that feed the one instance of arcade, and the top one is just going to be the drum groove. And on the bottom one is where I input all my modulation and all my effects. That allows me to easily turn off and on all my effects that I'm applying to the track. So this is the repeater modifier, what I would call glitch tool or stutter effect, and the salt and pepper use is really effective to kind of make a single drum pattern have a new life. I had this guitar that was just this boring guitar. It wasn't doing too much, and it just sounded something like this. So I took that guitar once again and I resampled it into Stitch. We have this kind of 16-bar thing. It goes one time around the progression, and when it goes to loop, I very simply, once again with the repeater modifier, was able to go in and build a pattern with it. You get this kind of more movement added the second time around. What I really like about being able to use your own samples in here is that these big macros on front, you could use those over your own drums. So we're going to take this and completely break the drum kit with it. So I'm not going to be using my reverb too much, so let's kill that, and I'm going to replace this with a delay is what I'm after. This is a very clean sounding delay, and it has a good bounce to it, and I've had a lot of fun messing with it. And then I'm going to assign my feedback and my delay time. And then we check our feedback, which is eventually going to be very high because I want this thing to kind of swirl into chaos. One thing that's really fun about being able to program these macros, and all the controls for that matter, is that it puts a little bit more of a performance base into applying your effects versus just applying an effect and tweaking it over and over again. This way we're actually writing in kind of what we feel playing against the drums, and I think it leads to a little bit more of a human feel. Going down the line, I kind of wanted to find something that would be a little bit more in the lead synth kind of idea, give something high energy, something that kind of keeps things plodding along. My favorite of the modifiers that I found is this resequencer. So I think you can make things as crazy as you want with it. The way that it goes in and chops up the sample lends itself to some really fun and cool sounds. We'll go in and we'll play this synth part. So we go from 3 to the end 5. That's kind of cool. And then let's reverse that one just to see what this is. subtle and cool. Let's go ahead and put that into the track. Now we're getting towards the end of this piece here, so halfway through this synth comes in. Chaos starts to build. And that fits in like a perfect glove. I think that's a pretty decent sci-fi sounding ending, I would say. So that's kind of the end of the trailer.